Hello and welcome to IMAGE The Motherload, the podcast for mums who work inside and outside the home. I'm your host, Dominique McMullen. I'm Image Media's editorial director and mum of 2 young boys. Each week, I'm joined by an exciting guest to talk about the realities of modern motherhood and to hopefully leave you feeling a little less alone and a little more seen. You can think of us as your village because we're here to, even just a teensy tiny bit, lighten the load. Before I get into it, I want to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors. IMAGE The Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Revive Active, It's for Women, Avoca and Liffey Valley. Today I'm joined by Tammy Darcy. As CEO of the Shona Project, Tammy leads a movement to inspire, educate and bring together Ireland's young women. But Tammy is more than that. She is an inspiring leader and her passion to bring people together and create real change is so tangible it practically vibrates off her. I am so delighted to have her here with me today. Let's get going. So welcome.
Hello.
Tammy Darcy.
Hello.
We'll have to keep the pitch down. We can feel it's going up and up and
I'm
up and up.
just so excited.
I'm so excited. How are you? How was your day?
My day was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always kind of getting to wrecked at this time of the day, so hopefully I can put some sentences together for
We're
you.
late in the evening.
We are. Yeah.
It's good. It's a more relaxed vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, for those listeners who might not know, you're CEO of the Shona Project.
I am.
Tell me what the Shona Project is and what you do.
We are a national charity and our mission is to educate and empower today's Irish girls to be tomorrow's strong, confident and curious women.
That's an elevator pitch.
That's my elevator pitch. I have like an elevator pitch, a 3-minute pitch, a 5-minute pitch, a 1-hour pitch.
Give me a longer one because it's tangible. We've worked with the Shona Project and with you for the last year and for the last 2 years really. And the change that you really make on the ground for teenage girls is amazing. And it's something that, as a former teenage girl, you can feel how much it's needed and how much I would have given to have something like that when I was that age.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and I think most people's experience of teenage girlhood
is rough.
It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we do. So initially when I started out, and, you know, people say, when did it start? And I'm like, well, I was born and then I was a teenager and then everything went wrong. But like I was like such a smart kid. I was such an overachiever, you know, like skip a class in primary school level smart, involved in all the sports, full of confidence, like literally not a doubt in my mind I could do whatever I wanted. And then I hit 14 and within the space of a year just completely disappeared and went from this really smart, confident girl who like just didn't see barriers. I didn't see obstacles to anything that I wanted to do, to being a girl who was like completely like failing exams, barely showing up to school, no friends, like isolated from my friends, very mistrustful, very angry, you know, getting into trouble.
Was there any incident that caused that, do you think? Or was that just teenagehood?
There was a few things. So, I mean, when I was growing up, I lived in this bubble, this like family bubble that was so lovely. I had an older sister called Shona who was a year older than me. And she was a real touchstone for me because anything that was going on, she had just been through it. So she was always kind of there. And then halfway through, when she was in 3rd year, she was diagnosed with a brain injury and they just told us she'd 6 months to live. So I mean, she did get an operation which saved her life at the time, but she never was the same again. She had physical and mental disabilities and lived a life that nobody would have wanted. But you know, nobody was kind of calling out the actual madness that we were living through. So it was just like, everything's okay, everything's fine. So you go along with that.
And the brain injury, how did that happen?
It's an acquired brain injury. Okay. So that just means something that comes along by itself.
Okay.
The way it was described to my 14-year-old self is that it's almost like a birthmark on the brain. It's like a little cluster of brain cells that kind of is a malformation. And when she hit puberty, so potentially was always there, but when she hit puberty, it got aggravated and started to grow really aggressively. And that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember her getting that diagnosis?
Yeah.
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 You remember it powerfully, obviously.
Yeah, I have very few memories of her, which is a typical trauma response, you know, very few memories. I remember a feeling of having her around. I remember trying to compete with her all the time and her just not being interested. So, you know, we used to get off the bus about 10-minute walk from the house, and I'd be like, let's race. And she'd be like, let's just look at the butterflies. And I'd be like, no, let's make this a competition. And she was just like never interested. So I remember kind of, you know, this sense of this kind of very calm person when I was a very hectic very hectic person. So we were very, very different, but, you know, we shared a room. So first face that I saw every day and the last face that I saw every night. And then all of a sudden she was gone. And there was no discussion or no support or anything like that. It was just like, let's all just keep going. So at the same time as that was going on, my parents went through this horrific separation that came out of nowhere as well, screaming and shouting it in the house every night. And then I was being bullied in school at the same time. So, and my sister wasn't there to kind of share that with. So I think it's this perfect storm of going to school, which was stressful, back home, which was stressful, and just existing in, you know, stress all of the time.
You had no safe space, no sanctuary, nowhere to go.
No, literally nothing. And for me, you know, when it comes to the supports that we give to girls, it's very intuitive because I know what I needed. I didn't need somebody to like logically explain it. I just needed somebody to recognize it and to give me permission to have whatever meltdown I needed to have.
Yeah.
You know, or to even have their own meltdowns, so I could see that meltdowns are okay, or like grief is okay, or you know, crying is okay, or, you know, taking some time out is okay. And that just never happens. So that really is where the Shona Project comes from. It's just creating a community of recognizing that it's really hard sometimes, and that when young women show up for each other and when women show up for each other, like, it makes such a transformational difference, and it's such an easy thing to do. It's really not like writing big checks or you know, it doesn't require any talent or skill. It's literally just kindness and you know.
And yet something that doesn't happen so often, you know, that we don't have a lot of the time, and that doesn't come naturally, I almost want to say, to some people.
I don't think it's that though, Dom. I just think like that, especially in girls' schools, you know, we see first years going they're starting secondary school.
Yeah.
And they see the girls ahead of them and the way they treat each other, and they're like, oh, this is what we do here. That's what we do, you know? And instead of seeing kindness, they see like competition, and they see judgment, and they just get on board with that. But it doesn't actually sit well with any of us. We all know it's not right. But it's just, you know, get them before they get me, or let them at it before they turn on me. And you know, I've used this phrase so many times, that we see girls putting armor on every morning to go to school. You can physically see it. Yeah.
Which is a horrible way to be when you're young, especially because that armor inevitably doesn't come off then, you know, for the rest of your life. So you were 14 when she had her operation, when Shona had her operation. And she wasn't the same. I mean, were you told what happened? Did you understand?
No.
There was no information given.
Not really. No. I mean,
did she live with you still?
She lived with us for a while. Like, as I said, my parents had just separated, so there was periods where she would live with one parent, me and my brother would live with another parent, or two of us would live with one and one would live with the other. It was, you know, kind of chaotic. And then she went into like a sort of sheltered housing where she was for a while able to live by herself. Real behavioural difficulties and real physical difficulties, both were very complex. And then about 15 years ago, so she would just keep taking dips, you know, in terms of her illness would just get worse all of a sudden. She ended up in hospital, and they couldn't find anywhere for her to go, so she stayed in like just a normal hospital for a year before they could find somewhere to put her. And then for the rest of her life she lived in an old folks home. because again, that was the only place that could take her. So she passed away 2 years ago.
And I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. She sounds like a special person. Even that short time that you had her full breadth of her. There's nothing like a big sister.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah. So tell me then, when you got into like your teenage years, you were a bit rebellious. From what I've heard rumors.
Oh, I've had too many glasses of wine with you in the past. Yeah, pure wild. I couldn't get out of the house fast enough. I started working very young. I moved out when I was 16.
Wow, that's so young.
Got an apartment, worked in nightclubs. My little brother moved in with me then. He was 13. And then...
So you were looking after him. Were you bringing him to school?
I was making sure he went to school, but I wasn't driving. Like, I was in an apartment.
Yeah.
He didn't go to school a huge amount, but he went more than I did. And then when I was 18, I became an actual proper mother. So I became a single parent at 18 with my first little baby.
What was that like?
If you want to know what that was like, go back and listen to Emma Doran's episode, because I was listening to it yesterday and I was like, that's word for word.
Same
like,
experience.
You know, when she talked about telling her parents, I was like, oh, I can still see it now. I can still see their faces.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, I really wouldn't recommend becoming a mother at 18, but I will say for me, I was like, okay, I need to get my act together now. And
it's probably a blessing in disguise.
It really was, because I kind of valued him more than I valued myself. So I would do things to make sure he had a good life. And then, like nothing was ever easy again. After that, I couldn't go to college back then. I had to go through different routes to get education, to work. Dating was never the same again.
No, I'm sure not.
Yeah, I'm like, hi, I'm 18, I'm a mom, what do you do? But luckily I met my husband the weekend of his first birthday. Not my husband's first birthday, my son's first birthday. And we've been together ever since. So.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I didn't realise you've been together that long.
We've been together a long time.
That's incredible. And did you get engaged pretty soon off the bat?
No.
Okay.
He told me very early I would never propose to anybody until I'm with them 5 years.
Oh, wow. That's
and exactly 5 years later, we got engaged. So we've been actually married 20 years together, 25 years.
Wow.
Married 26 years actually this
Congratulations.
year. Yeah, a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And throughout all of this, you went on to have a child with him.
2.
Lovely 2. And you fast forward many, many years, and you're now leading this movement to support teenage girls. Can you talk to me about what that has been like to raise kids while founding this incredible business that focuses so much on kids? And as I was thinking about these questions, I was wondering, did that ever take a toll on you? Were you, in the situation where you were supporting other teenagers while you had teenagers, and did that ever feel funny for you?
Yeah, there's so many ways I could answer that question. I think first of all, doing this job while they were teenagers has been amazing, because I'm really passionate about social enterprise in general.
Yeah.
I just think it's such an amazing way to do business and create social change. And I've been banging on about it at home, for years. And I did my master's dissertation on it. And I thought none of them were listening, but then my son is just doing a PhD in social enterprise.
Wow.
Obviously he was paying some sort of attention. And we have great chats about, social enterprise and social impact. And I can see how it's rubbed off on him. We're very similar. Both are quite academic and really interested in learning. My daughter, who's now 20, was 11 or 12 when I started. And I remember when I started, I was able to bring her to work and have her around amazing women, coming to workshops, coming to Shine Festival. I can hear the way she talks about herself and the way she values herself and the standards she sets for herself around who she will be in relationships with. During that whole period, she was bullied herself in school, and she had really bad anxiety, and we had the daily panic attacks, and it's quite different raising a daughter who's in that space where she's literally sitting on the bathroom floor and she can't get up, and not having the answers for that, than work mom and
of course
mom. But again, it's been a really big privilege for her to grow up in this environment, because up until then mom just went to work and came back from work and nobody really cared what she did. But it does bring a lot of challenges. I work really, really hard. I'm really passionate about what I do. There's no separation between work Tammy and home Tammy. They're all the one Tammy. But my husband is amazing. Like, he has been so supportive since day one, and we are a partnership, and he steps up and he takes huge responsibility and has never once complained that I've gone off to do this thing without him.
I don't think there's a woman I know who has a successful career who doesn't have a very supportive partner if she has children. It's not possible to do one without the other. No.
It's still tough. But
absolutely, it's still tough.
But I mean, look, they're older now. They're kind of, I've only one still in school. He's going to be an adult this time next year. Looking forward to kicking them all out of the house. But yeah, it's been lovely.
Especially to have a teenage girl. It's a beautiful gift to be able to give her. I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of experiences she's had being at, Shine Festival, which is an amazing event that you hold every year where there's incredible women speaking to all these teenage girls. Does she go every year to Shine Festival?
This year will be the first year she'll miss, because she's doing a hairdressing apprenticeship at the moment.
Okay.
She doesn't get much holidays, but she's usually right there running the show. Everyone is afraid of her. She has her radio and her mic. She's shouting orders.
She's her mother's daughter.
She's been at it for years, like she knows Shine Festival better than anybody.
Of course she does.
And it's really amazing. Like, I think last year I had all of them, husband, all 3 kids, all wearing their pink Shine t-shirts.
It's so lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
And tell us about Shine in more detail for those who won't know what Shine Festival is.
Well, you tell me about Shine, because I've seen you dancing at Shine. It's one of my favourite photos of all time.
I learned HOTTO at Shine, Chapel Rowan, with practice then at Electric Picnic, knowing my dance routine.
Oh yeah.
Shine Festival is very special. I mean, I've never felt such an atmosphere of positivity and happiness and inclusivity and just genuine joy. There was so much joy in the air, which is unusual around teenagers. I feel like often when you see teenagers, they feel a little bit
cagey.
And slightly like intimidating and kind of like they're slightly on edge. But these were everyone was so open and so happy, and the speakers were fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful atmosphere. Yeah,
and we're very intentional about that, because the girls are used to being in a school environment, right? And this is a day away from school. So, they come on buses, and we make sure that we curate the event very, very well, where it's not necessarily just people of profile. It's genuine, authentic speakers who share their vulnerability and all of the, and when they see our guards are down, even the volunteers, even when you came, you weren't standing around with clipboards, you were right in the middle of it. And it is a celebration, and like empowering and educating young people, or people in general, it doesn't have to be heavy. It can be joyful, and it can be a celebration. And I think, I always picture these, like 2,500 girls that attended Shine Festival, and be like, this is the only day in your whole life where all of us will be in this room at the same time and have this one experience, so let's make the most of it and celebrate.
And it feels like a celebration. It does. It feels so happy.
Nearly kills me every year, but
I'm sure. I can imagine knowing events and how much they take. It's a lot of energy.
It is.
But it's this beautiful, special thing. And we will all be there again next Shine. And
great.
Absolutely. Of course. I wouldn't miss it.
Okay, good.
Sorry. I'm there for the foreseeable. It's the most fun I've had in so long.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. As a mum, the reality is we spend a lot of time in the car, whether that's juggling work or the kids or somewhere in between. Recently, the other mums and I from Image test drove the Peugeot 3008 and 5008, and we were genuinely so impressed. They're spacious, big enough for car seats, buggies, sports equipment, and everything else you can think of, with really clever storage and innovative tech too. And they're also just really nice to drive. The 3008 SUV is a perfect mix of style and practicality, and the 5008 has all the extra space, including 7 seats if you need them. So whether you've got babies, toddlers or teens, Peugeot has thought of everything, because when life gets busy, you need a car that just gets it. And Peugeot certainly does. What other ways do you think we can support teenagers? Like, seeing that day and seeing all their happy faces and how open they all were, it really did make me reflect on, I saw teenage girls in a very different light. And actually, since that day, I've thought about teenage girls as like, teenage girls are amazing. And since some interviews I've done as well with girls who are Shona Project ambassadors, and before that, I would have thought of them as a bit miserable, if I'm perfectly honest, which I hate to say out loud. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to know how to open that conversation up for other people to know how to communicate with teenagers, how to support them, what to say, how to get down on their level with them.
Yeah.
And to make them feel safe to share with you as well.
I think that's what we do really, really well. You know, at the Shona Project, it's creating that connection. All the other stuff comes after that. You know, you have to make that connection first. And for me, I just think it's about let them know straight away that you see them. Yeah. And when I mean that, I don't mean just if you're at Shine Festival. I mean, if you stop at the shop on your way home and get milk and there's a young one behind the counter, let her know you see her. Yeah. You know, and it's not necessarily, oh, you're beautiful, because that's, you know, but it's like, even if it's how they're dressed and like acknowledging that they're expressing themselves in a certain way, or just even you like going overboard and be like, did you have a good day? Like, that's all they really want, is just to be acknowledged. They're all bunched in this, you know, group and painted in the same brush, as you said, where teenagers are scary. And teenagers endure a lot. Like, teenagers are under a huge amount of stress. Yeah. So I think just, you know, like acknowledging, but also show curiosity. Yeah. So like, whether it's the girl in the shop, whether it's a young woman who comes in to work on an internship in Image or anything, you have so much control over how she feels about herself in every interaction that you have with her. You know, and even giving feedback, you know, it's the way you say it. It's like, I really see loads of potential. I want to help you grow. So I'm giving you this feedback and something that maybe I can help you work on, instead of you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you know. And I know you have 2 boys. I would say do the same with them. Yeah. Well, I try to. And that was what I was going to say, as parents as well, who'd be listening, who are parents of teens. Is that the same advice you give them, to just let them know you see them and listen to them? Yeah, and just ask them questions. You know, like I went to a conference recently with Women's Aid. It was all about pornography. And on the way home, I rang my oldest son. I was like, I learned all this stuff. Now, I knew he would talk to me. And then I spoke to my daughter and I was like, you know, Freya, do you see this stuff going on? And she was like, Mom, like, you wouldn't believe it. And she started telling me all this stuff. And then I went to the toughest one, the youngest, who was 16 at the time. And I said, look, I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but I want to understand this because of the work that I do. And he just said, I'll tell you exactly what's going on. And he shared loads of things with me as well. Really? Yeah, because he knew I was genuinely curious. I wasn't being judgmental. You know, I wasn't like saying, and I think boys get this a lot, like, all boys are assholes. You know, they're genuinely not. Like, that's kind of their brand now, right? And they feel that they need to fight that back. So and as parents of young people, I think the Irish are very slow to want to give anyone a big head. Yeah. But if you have a child who's a teenager, from the second they leave your front door, the world will chip away at their confidence. So you cannot make their head big enough, as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't mean being entitled or thinking you're a princess. It's just being really sure of your own capability and your own value. And also your responsibility. So I think young people need 2 things. The first one is community and the second one is purpose. So if you can instill that in them from a young age, that their people might be all sorts of different people from all sorts of different walks of life, and their purpose might not be 600 points in the leaving cert.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And helping them to find that, and then just filling them, inflating them with self-belief.
I love that. I definitely inflate my kids with self-belief every
Good.
day. I tell them I'm gorgeous. And
You inflate me with self-belief.
I just inflate everybody. It's nice to be nice. It's nice to tell people how great
Who
they
knew?
are. Yeah. That's good to know. Community and purpose. And for adults as well, like it just makes sense. That is something that's important for your sense of well-being, your sense of self, knowing who you are and doing it with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about the survey that you did recently about a survey of Irish teenagers that was startling and shocking and quite disturbing actually in places. Can you talk to me about some of those results and what you learned?
Yeah, we call the survey the perfect storm because we keep being asked, what's the big challenge? And we're like, this is the thing. There's not one challenge. There's a multitude that are incessant all the time, all day, in school, at home. And I think it's not like one small problem that needs to be solved. And we spoke to the girls of Ireland and they kind of shared that back with us and reflected it back. 68% said that they wanted to change school because the school was such a negative place for them. We have like 80% who have worries that they've never shared with anybody, or stresses or traumas. We have the girls who just feel like they're not good enough. But what we've done with that information, now that we have it, like we always knew it, but now that we have it, is we're using those results to shape our programs going forward.
Great.
So we call those things our 6 villains. And we talk about the Shona Project like a Broadway show. So we have like the protagonists and the narrators who are the media in our community and the supporters. And these are our 6 villains. And that's every day the team comes into the office and we think, how are we addressing these 6 villains? Whether it's through our programs, through our socials, through conversations that we're having.
I love that. It's a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah, I stole it. I didn't make it up. but it really helps us to think like that these are...
Who are the 6 villains?
Well, it's those statistics, those
Okay.
6 main statistics.
Okay.
That anyone can look up on our website. Just put in the perfect storm and you can read it. But, it was just worries about relationships and the way they're being treated online. As I said, school being a toxic place, not feeling like school is a place that like encourages them to express themselves or to speak up, that it's all just conform, which can be so stifling if you're a young girl who thinks you can change the world. Or if you're a young girl who's super creative and you like express that in the way that you dress and how you show up in the world, and you're being told to just, you can't even wear a slightly different colour grey socks to school.
I remember that.
So it's stark, but it just helps us stay focused on what we're doing.
And what about social media? I feel like that's the big towering, issue of the day for young women. And, we all talk about it like, oh God, thank God I didn't have pictures of me when I was that age. But it feels more than that. It's much deeper than that and much more...
insidious.
Yeah, exactly. Insidious than that.
A woman told me a story there a couple of years ago, and she talked about, she's older than me, and she talked about when she finished her Leaving Cert exams, she went on a holiday and she had one swimsuit. It was a brown swimsuit. She never saw it on her. She brought it on holidays. She wore it every day. She swam with her friends. She laughed. She danced. They had like cameras. But she didn't see a photo of herself until 2 weeks after she got home, when the role was developed. And she said, I had no consciousness of how I looked or, how I was being perceived by anyone around me. I didn't care that my hair was wet. I had no makeup on. And 2 weeks ago, I was doing a workshop with a group of girls in Waterford, and there was a young woman there. She was an intern. And she started sharing her experience. And she said, I wear full face of makeup to the gym because you don't know who's filming you.
Oh my God.
Going to the gym. So if you look at the difference in like a generation, and we're not equipped to deal with it. So, Yeah, it's dark. It's just the system is rigged, and I try not to dwell on it because there's so many ways that it shows up in their lives and harms them, both boys and girls. But it's not going anywhere. I also think like it could be used for in so many good ways. I always tell our girls, like, we don't all have positive role models at home, but yet, you know, while you're eating your breakfast, if you need to feel confident, you can watch Michelle Obama give a speech while you're having your breakfast and tell you, you know,
So true.
she can be in your room, in your house, speaking to you. So as much as you can be brainwashed to believe you're not good enough, like, wouldn't it be great if we could be brainwashed to think we are good enough?
Yeah.
Because of what we're consuming online.
Yeah. And I do feel like we're moving in a more positive direction that understands the dangers of social media. I feel like, you know, teenagers now are more educated about that than they were 5-6 years ago. I interviewed a really brilliant child psychologist a good few months ago, Coleman Noctor. He's been fantastic, but he talks about this lost generation, this, you know, few years where we just threw these kids to the wolves and gave them smartphones and allowed them to run free on social media, and that unfortunately the impact of that on them is we're too far gone. You know, they're in their 20s now, but the kids coming up, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. Well, we have 9-year-olds watching porn at the moment.
Oh my God.
You know, hopefully that is being addressed. And again, it's how you talk to them at home. Like, don't convince yourself that it's not in their ether because you're scared of it. You have to kind of just create this like two-way conversation street with your kids from a young age.
Yeah. And be brave with it.
Yeah.
Be brave, as an adult, which is, hard to do when you're talking about something like porn and a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been looking at a kind of a Shona Project for boys as well.
Yeah.
Which is so exciting to me, especially as a mum of 2 boys.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot.
We have, yeah.
And I resisted it for a long, long time because, well, a couple of reasons. First of all, I have lived experience of being a girl, so like I have a gut instinct as to how to do this. That's worth more than all my education and anything that I've read. And also, there's 250,000 girls in Ireland, and every year there's a new cohort, right?
Yeah.
So they just keep coming, and we have such few resources. But around the time of the election last November, so we always, when we work with girls, we ask them what the challenges are. And they would have always said anxiety, social media. Around the time of the US election, the tide shifted overnight to the way I'm being treated online by boys and the way the boys talk to me and each other. And this was way before adolescence came out. We could see this happening. I mean, it was always an issue, and I just kept hoping somebody would do it. And I was like, I'll work with you. I'll give you the framework. I'll give you all my notes. You can take whatever you want, just somebody to do it. And nobody did it. And then I kind of realized, well, look, we've built a framework. We're, 9 years down the line now, and we have our reputation. We have all this knowledge, and we have support, and we have a community. So if I could just create a little space and bring somebody in and give them the support they need to start that. And so we've done that, and he's in week 3 now.
And how's he getting on?
He's great. He comes into an office that's like pink, and there's mirror balls and Frida Kahlo posters. And oh God, we need to look at this. And we don't know what it's going to look like yet. It'll be a different brand, a different kind of language to what we do. Of course. So we'll figure that out. But he's really open, and he's really passionate about what we're doing. He has a lot of experience. He's a master's in psychotherapy, and he was a dean in a boys' school for 4 years working directly. So he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Because I feel like we have come so far. I mean, there's so much further to go. But as women, and with feminism and with the way we see women portrayed in the media and the conversations that we're having, we've come so far. And there is a feeling that boys have been left behind a little bit. And like what you touched on earlier, saying that boys are being presented as just assholes, like men are assholes.
And
boys
they
are
see
assholes.
that, and they're hearing that.
Yeah, which is awful.
Somebody said recently, you know, there's a report that said 1 in 6 boys are fans of Andrew Tate, but 5 and 6 boys are not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
and when I think about my boys, and I'm sure you're the same, like
Yeah.
they're the sweetest, most affectionate, most loving, most sensitive little creatures. You know, they are not
no.
coming out testosterone-y, and I mean, they are that too, and they roll around and they fight, but they're so sweet and gentle.
But again, they're being told that that's what the world expects from them, in the
Yeah.
same way that the girls are
Exactly.
being told, you know, the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's a huge undertaking, and
Yeah.
I feel it's actually going to be harder to win the boys over,
Yeah.
because they have felt alienated from this conversation for so long that they
Yeah.
need to be included as a, you know, again, you can't just talk down to them and tell them.
No, you need to be down there with them.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big undertaking, but I think an essential one. I think one that's so important, and that will chip away slowly and get somewhere important with it.
Yeah. We're doing our best.
Do it for my boys, please.
I will.
If you could have it ready in, you know,
Yeah, leave it
5,
with
6
me.
years.
Yeah.
That would be great. And what else are you up to then in the Shona Project right now? There's always lots of different things going on.
There's always lots going on. We're growing so fast. You know, we've spent a lot of time in the last few years creating the groundwork to really grow. So, you know, governance structures, building the team, figuring out what impact looks like, creating our strategic plan, all of the stuff that maybe people outside don't see.
Yeah.
And now we're really ready, and we have a great team who are so passionate, like so passionate, every single one of them, about what we do, are so creative and so committed that now we're really ready. So I think the next kind of 3 or 4 years is going to be a really exciting time for us, where we can really get our teeth in and use the tools that we've created. What else is going on? I mean, just never stops.
You're expanding the workshops.
We're expanding our workshops, yeah. So we've already worked with about 68% of all the girls in mixed schools in Ireland, but we want to go deeper.
Sorry, that's amazing. Say that again. 68% of all the girls in schools in Ireland.
Of all the girls' schools.
Of all the girls' schools in Ireland.
This year we've reached
That's incredible.
180,000 girls across all of our programs.
And I've sat through one of those workshops, and they are, I mean, honestly, as an adult woman, that workshop was valuable for me. It's a moment to be able to sit there and really reflect on your values as a human, what matter to you, you know, and who you want to be in the world and who you're not.
It's not complicated, really.
No, it's not, but it is also incredibly complicated.
Yeah, well,
you know,
true.
it's both at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're delivering more of those workshops, and you're expanding
More
them.
workshops. We launched a mentorship program last year, which we're expanding this year, and that's working really well. And we're actually building out into 3rd level. So we see a lot of girls really struggling with that move into first year in college, because for 2 years you've just been told the only thing that matters is your leaving cert.
Yeah.
And then the leaving cert is over and you're like, oh crap, like
What happens
I'm
now?
not prepared for anything else. So we're hoping to expand out into that. We are doing a lot more collaborations around, so we did the anxiety suite last year, which was, we had Tara Rafter involved in that.
That was really valuable.
It was great, yeah.
Where can people access that? That's a series of videos where Tara Rafter speaks to a teenager about anxiety
and stress and understanding it and dealing with that. And it was a lovely conversation, because the young woman that she spoke to, Molly, has had crippling anxiety, which has really impacted her life, and she shared her story, and it was just like 2 women talking to each other, as opposed to, well, if you turn to page 13, do step 1, step 2 and step 3. So we want to do a lot more of that. We want to do one around, like, you know, how we can stay safe online in a non-judgy way. We want to do one on women's health and understanding our bodies. There's so many more of those content series that we want to do, and again, it's almost like we hear of young women sitting while they're doing their makeup, you know, watching them one after the other, and coming back and give us feedback. So we've built a platform, and we want to continue to use it to use social media for good. And your Instagram page is such a joy to go and visit and to
pop up on my feed. I always enjoy the posts.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And so again, as an adult woman, like inspiring for me. So definitely inspiring for teenage girls too.
Yeah, that's good.
You touched on it there about the responses that girls gave you, talking about violence or you know, feeling intimidated by men or boys online. And I'm wondering what you felt about the recent Dublin Rape Crisis Centre results that were released that showed a staggering increase in reported violence against women. How does that feel as someone doing the job that you were doing, and how do you kind of respond to those kind of results?
Somebody told me recently, you know, well, kids are doing okay. Like I've seen, you know, the number of young people who drink, you know, is starting to decrease. And I was like, well, first of all, they can't afford it.
Yeah.
And second of all, young women don't go out drinking because they're not safe to
They're
do
scared.
it. They're afraid, you know, so it's not necessarily an indication of how well they're doing. And I see my daughter and all her friends really afraid to go out and not comfortable in public
Really?
spaces. Like my daughter has had it from the age of 13. Like there was a WhatsApp group that was set up by a group of boys, and it was like, who's going to take her virginity when she was 14. And, you know, she's just had it her whole life, and she's become, I hate to say, desensitized to it, but like her and all of her friends, none of them go out anymore. They don't really put themselves in any situation. And even when I'm saying that, it's like put themselves in a situation
I know,
where
yeah.
something could happen. But like until the world changes, you know, we are all
You have to look
afraid.
after yourself. Yeah.
And even as parents, you know, we talk about and again, I have one view as CEO of the Shona Project and another view as mother of a teenage girl. But, you know, the way that they dress or where they go. And, you know, we were on holidays recently and she said she wanted to go for a run. And I was like, where are you going for a run? What's your route? And the two boys were like, Mom, leave her alone. Like, let her go for a run. And I was like, you actually don't understand that I need to know where she is.
Yeah.
We're in a strange country. You know, and as soon as I said it, they were like, oh, okay, because they can run whenever they want.
Yeah. Is that your mother view? Or is that your Shona Project CEO
It's also
view?
my Shona Project CEO view, but I feel it's very unfair that I'm thinking of that and I'm making her feel not completely relaxed to go for a run if she wants to go for a run. I feel that's very, very unfair. But at the same time, if something happened to her, I'd never forgive myself. So
Of course you wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to know where the line is, you know, and it's a hard one. Like, I wonder about these things, whether we are more aware of the danger or whether there is more danger. You know, I wonder about that.
Well, the numbers say one thing, but these are numbers that are being reported that may not have been reported before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Do
scary
you know
time.
any women our age that have not had an experience that you wouldn't want your teenage daughter to have?
No.
Yeah.
No, certainly not. No. Yeah, but I don't know how to protect them either, you know, without causing anxiety, without bubble wrapping them from the world.
Yeah. I haven't quite figured that out either.
Okay. Well, if you haven't
Sorry.
figured it out, I don't think anyone's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a scary, scary time. Is that what drives you forward?
I love my job. Like, I work really, really hard, but I just have the best job in the world. I say that all the time. I'm so lucky to do what I do. I'm so lucky that when I started this organization, people got up and stood behind me and said, how can I help? And
From the beginning.
From the very beginning. And on a personal note, I have met so many amazing people professionally that I now call friends, yourself included, and many others that you know. And it has also brought this amazing sense of healing, because Shona's illness and death is such a trauma.
Yeah.
And to be able to take that really negative thing and turn it into something way bigger than both of us is really, really healing. It doesn't take away that trauma, but it really kind of helps me see that I'm not where I am in spite of those things. I'm where I am because of those things.
Yeah.
And I have amazing people behind me, and I get to work with these girls that like just are so amazing. You said it yourself. You've met them. So amazing.
Talk to me about some of them. Some of the Shona ambassadors. They really are incredible young women with some brilliant stories.
Yeah.
Could you give me one or two of them?
Oh, I could give you so many.
I'm thinking of Lynetta. Can we talk about Lynetta?
Oh, Lynetta came to us. She was, I'd say, in 5th year. Tiny little shy girl, and she said, I'm really passionate about STEM and I'm really passionate about careers in STEM. Can I become an ambassador? And we were like, yeah, let's go. And she became a junior ambassador and started getting really engaged with us and coming to our events, and we just saw her bloom. I mean, you've met her, right? And all of a sudden she was doing speeches at our events, and she was, you know, like saying, oh, I've had this idea and I want to share it with you. And then she did her leaving cert, and she's so smart, Lynetta. Like, she would blow, you know, way smarter than me anyway. And got her dream course in college and said, I want to take a year off and intern with you for the year before I start college. And she's just about to start now college in the next week or so. But she came to work every day and, you know, took on tasks and challenges, and she's so equipped now to go out into the world because she knows how to network, which is something that girls are not encouraged to do. And I think it's vital for every young woman to start networking.
Absolutely.
From 3rd or 4th year, not from when you've graduated. So she's flying. We had another girl that I met on our mentorship program a year ago. This beautiful girl called Katie. And Katie came on the mentorship program. Her mentor was amazing. They formed this great bond. And then she said, can I be an ambassador? And she became an ambassador. She's just done her leaving cert, but she just came and volunteered over the whole summer. She's all over her Instagram. She gave the office tour. You'll see her. She's great. And next week, when I go and talk in one of the universities about our work, she's actually given the presentation.
Wow.
One of our very, very early ambassadors was Nicole Ryan, who's now a senator.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
The whole point for me is not necessarily that it's the role that we play. It's creating that community of these girls together, right? So maybe in 15, 20 years' time, one of them will be the editor of IMAGE, one of them will be a senator, one of them will be running a charity, one of them will be a billionaire who gives them all money to do their jobs, you know, and it's that network that they'll have together.
They'll know each other
the whole way through, which is really important. So for me, it's about having that network, peer support, people at the end of a phone.
Which is everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And do you know what's so interesting to me as well in interviewing you now is that when you start to talk about those girls, you light up.
Oh, I love them.
Whereas
so
when
much.
you're talking about yourself, you're like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But you can tell that your passion is really there.
You know what though,
them.
Dom, and I know I sound like an absolute liar when I say this. It's not about me.
No, I know, yeah.
It's
and I know,
really not.
I can tell you feel that truly.
I really, truly feel that it's not about me. I have already achieved and succeeded and had better experiences than I ever dreamed of. So, you know, I'm fine.
What would you want to say to Shona now if she was here? What would you be telling her about what you've done and what you've achieved in her name?
I have this, for years there was an empty field that was beside my house. And, you know, I always thought if she hadn't gotten sick now, she would have built there. And we'd have a little gateway, you know. She would have been working with animals. She loved horse riding. She just loved, you know, she would never walk past an animal without petting them. And I would just, it's not that I even want to say anything to her. I would just want to have her as a friend and just as a person in my life.
Yeah.
And I would also thank her, because if she hadn't been who she was and had the experience that she was, then I wouldn't have what I have now. So like, I'm really grateful, and I'm so proud that it's her name on the organization and not mine. You know, I just hope that she would realize that even though she's not around anymore, that her name is still there, and her name and my name are still very closely tied together.
And that she lives on.
Yeah, she'll outlive us all through that. You know, there's a saying, everybody dies twice. Have I said this to you before? I don't know, but they say everybody dies twice. The first time when you pass away, and the second time when your name is said out loud for the last time. And for that, I feel like she'll outlive all of us, hopefully.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've created that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have goosebumps. Out of everything you've achieved, what do you think is your most proud?
I mean, we've gotten loads of awards and loads of amazing experiences. I got to study in Harvard this summer. I got to be an Obama leader, and they're all great, but they can't be the thing that drives you, because, you know, there was one day in particular I was on a Zoom call with Barack Obama.
Excuse me.
If you don't mind.
Name drop.
But then half an hour later, I was on a call with my accountant, who was like, "We're missing receipts for the bus you took, you know, back in April." So like, those things are great, but they can't be the thing that drives you. I think for me, it's when I look back and just think about, like, years ago when I was sitting at home and I had this idea for something, and I was so terrified, Dom. Like, I was like, I'm not the right person. Somebody needs to do it, but it could never be me. And I remember setting up like a WordPress website one Friday night with a glass of wine. And I just see now where it is, where, you know, I was sitting on a train one day and a girl across from me was reading the book that I wrote, or, you know, or, you know, somebody who doesn't know who I am is like, "Oh, my daughter went to Shine Festival. Have you heard of it?" And I was like, "Oh, I have. Yeah." You know, so it's just to see the growth and like what a movement it has become. And I think it's seeing people like you show up and get involved and like see the importance of it. I think that for me is the most important thing.
If you were to send one message to teenage girls as well, actually 2 messages, one to the mothers of teenage girls and one to the teenage girls themselves, what would you want to say to them if they're listening?
To mothers of teenage girls, I would say be so careful of your language, right? So I hear a lot of women that are mothers and fathers who kind of approach me and say, "My daughter is so anxious." And I'm like, "Why are you whispering? You're immediately acting like it's something to be ashamed of."
Yes.
You know, and 99% of the other parents are trying to deal with the same thing at home. So like, be so careful of your language and how you talk about their struggles, and give them credit for surviving and getting up every day. Like, when my daughter was having panic attacks every morning and I was trying to get her to do one class, and she'd do one class and we'd be like, "Yay, you did one class." Like, and I was so proud of her because she was trying so hard. And it's not about the outcome. It's not about the points. It's about the effort and the fact that they get back up. So, you know, give them credit and be so proud of them and tell them that. What I'd like to tell young girls is, I think about this a lot because there's so many things I would like to tell them. But I think the main thing is get to know yourself. If you look inside yourself and you know what you're good at, if you know your worth, if you know what you're capable of, also if you know what you're not, right? So if you know the areas that you need to work on, and if you really know yourself and believe in who you are and know what your values are, when other people question it, you're not going to believe them because you know. So that's what I would say, is know who you are, know what you care about, know what you want to be, know how you want to express yourself, and just do it every day. And if people don't like it,
screw them.
Screw them.
Yeah, knowing who you are, because no one else can be that.
Yeah.
And it is a powerful lesson to learn throughout the whole of life. To learn to feel who you are, to really tap into it, and then to be it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like being authentically yourself.
Oh, it's the best.
It feels so good. There's nothing like it. Yeah. And for a teenage girl to know that early on is a powerful, powerful thing.
The day that I started leaning into who I was is the day everything started to go right.
Was that the day you started the Shona Project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I used to go to a job where we all had to dress the same and be the same and like not leave your personality at the door and your family and your challenges at the door, show up and conform every day. And it was just too much for me. I couldn't take it. And then, you know, even when I started this job, I was like, I have to be such a good public speaker and I have to be so slick and I have to like know everything. And then I was like, no, do you know what? I really don't.
No.
If I was perfect, nobody would believe me.
Yeah.
Nobody, like, you know, when you see somebody giving a speech and they stumble, like you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've been figuring this out as I go, and people have just, you know, been like, okay, I see you. I'm going to help you.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit there, but yes, also I do agree. People will back you when they
Know who
when
you
they
are.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have any closing message, Tammy? Anything that you want to say to close off our lovely chat before we go and get a glass of wine?
Any closing comments? I can't think of anything that I haven't already said. I would like to say thank you to you. I see what you're doing with this podcast and I see what you do with Image, and you're somebody who is so good at what you do. I've been watching you for years. I was like, she's awesome. And you're also very authentic and you tell people when you're struggling and all the rest. But I think like you've used your role to really bring people together and help people, and I see you.
Thank you. That's not what's meant to happen here.
I was determined to make her cry. I was so close.
a little weepy. No. Tammy Darcy, thank you so much. Thank you for taking
You're
the
so
time to be
welcome.
here today. I know you're busy, so I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please do go and give us a follow. It'll allow you to see each new episode as it comes up each week. Or even better, tell someone you know about us. That will allow women who really need to hear these conversations access us more easily. If you would like to experience the Motherload IRL, we have tons of events coming up in the very near future. So just visit image.ie. Thank you, as always, to the incredible brands that make Image the Motherload possible. We are powered by Peugeot and sponsored by It's for Women, Revive Active, Liffey Valley and Avoca. And thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next week.